The great hall of the Luminary Council glowed with soft blue light as 12 worried faces looked at each other around the round table. Outside the tall glass windows, 3 moons hung in the purple sky of their homeworld, Lumina. "The reports are confirmed," said First Speaker Trell, his thin fingers tapping on the holographic display. "The Void Dominion fleet has destroyed 3 outer systems. They will reach our borders in 30 days. The council members whispered among themselves. The Luminary were a peaceful race who had not fought a war in over 10,000 years. Their ships were built for science and trade, not battle. "What options do we have?" asked Elder Vin, her voice shaking slightly. Trell looked down. "Our defenses will not hold against their weapons. We have already sent messages to our allies, but they are too far to help in time." Silence filled the room until Junior Council Member Pell spoke up. "There is one possibility." All eyes turned to him. "The humans," Pell said quietly. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Elder Vin stood up quickly. "That is not an option. They are Deathworlders. Their very nature is violence." Trell raised his hand for silence. "Pell, explain your thinking." Pell activated his data pad, and an image of Earth appeared above the table. "Yes, humans evolved on a planet that would kill most of us in minutes. Their gravity is crushing, their atmosphere thick with oxygen, their weather extreme, and their wildlife deadly. But these conditions made them strong." He showed images of human ships. "Their fleet is impressive. They have fought and survived their own wars. And our deep space monitors show they have expanded to 17 systems in just 200 years. They are dangerous," argued Elder Vin. "The Galactic Classification Board labeled them as a Class 9 Deathworld species." "Yes," agreed Pell. "But the Void Dominion is destroying peaceful worlds. Perhaps we need dangerous allies." Trell stood up and walked to the window. He looked at the beautiful city below, its crystal towers reflecting the moonlight. Millions of Luminary lived there, none who had ever known war. "Prepare a message," he finally said. "I will speak to the humans myself." 3 days later, Trell sat alone in the communication chamber. The council had argued for hours about what to say, but in the end, they agreed simple truth was best. He adjusted his translator and began recording. "To the people of Earth, I am First Speaker Trell of the Luminary Collective. We are a peaceful civilization of 17 worlds located 340 light years from your home. We face destruction from an enemy force called the Void Dominion. Our defenses cannot stop them. Our allies cannot reach us in time." Trell paused, knowing the next words might determine the fate of his people. "We know of your reputation as warriors. We know you come from a world that forged you in harsh conditions. We have seen how quickly you have spread among the stars. Some fear you for these qualities." He leaned closer to the recorder. "But today, we hope these same qualities might save us. We are sending our star charts and all information about the Void Dominion with this message. We can offer advanced technology and resources in exchange for your help." Trell felt a weight on his shoulders as he finished. "This is a request for assistance from one civilization to another. We are sending this SOS with hope that you will answer. We have 30 days before the first attacks begin." He ended the recording and sent the message toward Earth, knowing it would take 5 days to reach them through the faster-than-light communication network. Trell stayed in the empty room for a long time after, watching the stars through the dome above. Somewhere out there were humans, dangerous, unpredictable Deathworlders who might be their only hope. All he could do now was wait. Admiral Jack Stone stood at the large window of Earth Defense Headquarters, watching ships dock at the orbital station above. The glass was specially made to darken the brightness of Earth's sun, which shone on the blue planet below. "Admiral, we need you in the communication room," said his assistant through the speaker. "Something important has come in." Jack walked quickly through the metal hallways of the station. At 60 years old, he still moved like a much younger man. His gray hair was cut short, and his uniform was perfectly clean as always. In the communication room, 5 officers waited around a large table. Intelligence Officer Ren Wu looked up as Jack entered. "Sir, we'd received this message an hour ago," Ren said, pointing to the screen. "It came through the Deep Space Network." Jack watched the recording of First Speaker Trell. The alien looked nothing like a human, with blue-tinted skin, large eyes, and a thin body that would probably break under Earth's gravity. As the message played, Jack's expression became more serious. "Have we confirmed this is real?" he asked when it finished. "Yes, sir," said Ren. "The star charts match our unmapped regions, and we've had reports of unusual activity in that sector for months." Fleet Commander Maya Patel, Jack's second-in-command, studied the data on her tablet. "The Void Dominion sounds like bad news. Look at these attack patterns. They're systematic. They're not just conquering, they're eliminating entire populations." Jack walked around the table slowly. "But why ask us? There must be closer civilizations." "That's the interesting part," said Ren, bringing up more information. "According to their message data packet, we're classified as Deathworlders. They consider Earth an extreme environment, and us, well, dangerous. They're afraid of us," Maya said simply. "But they're more afraid of these void people." Silence filled the room as everyone thought about what this meant. Earth had unified its governments only 30 years ago, after the last war. Their expansion into space had been fast but peaceful. This would be humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, and it was a request to fight someone else's war. Jack looked at the faces around him. Opinions. "We don't know these luminary," said Defense Minister Brock. "This could be a trap. Or it could be exactly what they say," argued Maya. "A peaceful species about to be destroyed. If we ignore this, how are we different from these void invaders?" "We have the fleet capacity," said Captain Lee. "The new Defender-class ships could reach their space in 20 days at maximum speed." Jack looked back at the frozen image of Trell on the screen. "They're reaching out because we're tough, because our world made us strong." He nodded slowly. "Prepare a response message. Tell them help is coming." "The Council will need to approve," began the Defense Minister. "We'll get approval," Jack interrupted. "But we're not waiting. Maya, I want 20 ships ready in 48 hours. Captain Lee, you'll coordinate supplies. Ren, get me everything you can find about this region of space." "Sir," Maya said carefully, "what exactly are we telling the Council?" Jack's face hardened as he looked at the star chart, showing the path of destruction left by the Void Dominion. "We're telling them that humanity just found its place in the galaxy. If our strength means we can protect those who can't protect themselves, then that's what we'll do." As the officers hurried to carry out orders, Jack sent a short message back to the luminary. "Help is coming. Hold position. Earth fleet arriving in 25 days. For the first time, humans were going to war among the stars. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of luminary space. 20 warships, black against the stars, moved into formation. The flagship, Resilience, led the way, twice the size of the others, its hull marked with the blue and white Earth defense symbol. On the main observation deck of the luminary space station, First Speaker Trell and the Council watched the human ships approach. "They came," whispered Elder Vin, her voice filled with both relief and fear. "I did not truly believe they would." "So many ships," said another council member, "and they arrived 5 days earlier than promised." Trell nodded. The humans had surprised them already. "Prepare the welcome party. Remember what we discussed. No sudden movements. Speak clearly. And most importantly, do not show fear." An hour later, a human shuttle docked with the luminary station. The door opened with a hiss of air, and Admiral Jack Stone stepped through, followed by Commander Maya and 4 other humans. They wore simple blue uniforms with small weapons at their sides. The luminary delegation gasped quietly. The humans were taller and more solid than expected. Their skin colors varied from light to dark brown, and their movements seemed quick and powerful even in the lighter gravity of the station. Trell stepped forward and raised his hand in the traditional luminary greeting. "Welcome to Lumina, Admiral Stone. I am first speaker Trell. We are grateful for your swift response to our message." Jack nodded and extended his hand in the human way. "Thank you for your welcome. We came as soon as we received your call." Trell looked at the offered hand with confusion before carefully reaching out. The human's grip was firm but controlled, as if Jack understood his own strength could hurt the luminary. "Please, join us in the meeting chamber," Trell said, leading the way. In the large room with its curved walls of glowing blue glass, the humans sat across from the Luminary Council. Maya noticed how the aliens seemed nervous, their large eyes constantly watching the humans' every move. "Let me get right to the point," Jack said. "How much time do we have before the Void Dominion arrives?" The directness startled the council. In luminary culture, such important discussions would begin with hours of formal greetings and ceremony. "Approximately 12 days," Trell answered after recovering from his surprise. "Their fleet was last seen near the city system." Jack nodded to Ren, who brought up holographic maps showing the region. "Show us their approach vector and any information you have on their weapons and tactics." For the next hour, the luminary shared everything they knew about the enemy. The humans asked quick, direct questions that sometimes confused the luminary with their bluntness. "Why do they attack you?" Maya asked finally. Trell's face showed sadness. "The Void Dominion believes only the strong deserve to exist. They see our peaceful nature as weakness, our art and science as useless. They destroy what they cannot use." Jack stood up and walked to the window. From there, he could see the beautiful luminary city in the distance, its towers reaching toward the sky. "We understand facing enemies who want to destroy your way of life," he said quietly. "Humanity has fought its own wars. We know what it means to defend your home." He turned back to the council. "We will help you." Relief spread across the luminary faces, but Trell still looked troubled. "There is something you should know, Admiral," he said. "Some among us feared asking for your help because humans are classified as dangerous. Your world, your nature." Jack smiled slightly. "Don't worry, first speaker. What makes us dangerous to your enemies is exactly what makes us valuable as your allies." As the meeting ended, both sides knew that an unusual partnership had just begun. The next 7 days passed quickly as humans and Luminary worked together to prepare for the coming attack. Human engineers spread across the Luminary defense stations, amazed by the alien technology they found there. Chief Engineer Dax whistled as he examined the main power core of the largest Luminary station. "This is incredible," he said to his team. "Their energy systems are at least 50 years ahead of ours." "But their weapon systems are basic," replied Technical Officer Lena. "It's like they put all their knowledge into building beautiful things and almost nothing into protection." Across the room, a luminary engineer named Mori watched the humans with wide eyes. He had never seen beings who could work so quickly in the hot conditions of the engine room. The temperature was uncomfortable for his people, but the humans barely seemed to notice. "Your people built this station in just 10 years. Dax asked Mori. "It would have taken us 30. Mori nodded. "We build for beauty and function, but—" He looked down. "We never thought we would need to make it strong for war." Dax put a hand on the alien's shoulder, trying to be gentle. "Then we'll help with that part. That's why we're here." On the flagship Resilience, Commander Maya led the tactical planning with Captain Tom's ground forces team. They studied the luminary maps and the limited information about the Void Dominion. "Their ships are larger than ours," Maya noted, pointing to the hologram, "and they outnumber us 3-1. "But they're predictable," Captain Tom said. "Look at these attack patterns. They always hit the center first, then spread out. No surprise moves." A luminary military advisor named Vila, one of the few with any combat experience, watched with growing concern. "Your plan seems unusual," she said carefully. "You want to split your forces." Maya nodded. "Conventional tactics won't work against their numbers. We'll use Earth's old naval warfare techniques, hit-and-run attacks, fake retreats, night operations. Night operations, Vila asked, confused. Space has no night. Captain Tom smiled. It's just an expression. It means attacking from unexpected directions. The luminary still looked troubled. This plan requires your ships to take heavy damage. Some may be destroyed. That's war, Tom said simply. We build our ships knowing some won't come back. This concept seemed to disturb Vila deeply. In the luminary capital city, Admiral Jack met with First Speaker Trell and the Council. The early warning systems had detected void scout ships at the edge of the system. They've seen us, Jack said, and they're moving faster now. They'll arrive in 3 days, not 5. Elder Vin wrung her hands nervously. Can we be ready in time? We have to be, Jack replied. He turned to Trell. We need to evacuate the outer settlements. Move your people to the core worlds. That will cause panic, argued a council member. Better panic than death, Jack said firmly. And we need your scientists to work with ours. Your understanding of energy fields might give us an edge. As the meeting continued, Trell observed the human admiral. In the past week, Jack had slept little, eaten quickly, and worked constantly. Such conditions would exhaust any luminary, but the human showed no signs of slowing down. Your ability to function under stress is remarkable, Trell said when they were alone. Jack smiled tiredly. Earth taught us that. Pressure, danger, difficult conditions, they're part of our history. The very things that made us fear you, Trell realized. The very things that might save you, Jack corrected. Outside the windows, human ships moved into defensive positions around the beautiful luminary world. The coming days would test both species in ways neither had imagined. The Void Dominion fleet appeared at the edge of the luminary system like a dark cloud against the stars. 50 large warships moved in perfect formation, their black hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. On the bridge of the Resilience, Admiral Jack watched the enemy approach on the main screen. Around him, human officers worked at their stations with focused intensity. All ships report ready, sir, said Commander Maya. Ground forces are in position on the main settlements. Jack nodded. Begin Operation Thunderstorm. 10 human ships broke formation and moved forward, appearing to challenge the much larger Void fleet head-on. The remaining human vessels slipped behind Lumina's third moon, hiding their energy signatures. On the Void command ship, War Leader Drax watched the human vessels with cold curiosity. These are not luminary ships, he noted to his lieutenant. Scan them. High energy readings, reinforced hulls, primitive but powerful weapons, reported the lieutenant. They appear to be from an unregistered world. Drax's face showed no emotion. Irrelevant. They are few. We are many. Begin the standard attack pattern. The Void fleet split into 3 groups, just as Captain Tom had predicted. Their center force moved directly toward the waiting human ships. They took the bait, Maya said, watching from the Resilience. Executing Phase 2. The human ships suddenly accelerated to maximum speed, racing straight toward the center of the Void formation. At the last moment, they scattered in different directions, firing all weapons as they passed through the enemy lines. The unexpected maneuver caught the Void ships by surprise. 3 of their vessels took heavy damage before they could respond. What is this? Drax demanded as his ship shook from a direct hit. These are not standard tactics. As the Void ships turned to pursue, the hidden human vessels emerged from behind the moon, attacking from behind. Now the Void fleet found itself caught in crossfire. Continue the attack, Drax ordered. They cannot withstand our numbers. The space around Lumina erupted in battle. Human ships moved in unpredictable patterns, never staying still long enough to become easy targets. They fought like Earth's ancient fighter planes, diving and rolling through space in ways the rigid Void formations couldn't match. But the Void Dominion had numbers on their side. 2 human ships exploded under concentrated fire. 3 more took heavy damage. On Lumina's surface, Captain Tom led a defense team at the main spaceport as void landing craft broke through. His soldiers wore heavy combat suits designed for Earth's gravity, making them stronger on the lighter Luminary world. "Hold this position," Tom shouted as void troops marched forward. "Protect the evacuation ships." The Luminary civilians watched in amazement as the humans fought. Where the Luminary would have surrendered when faced with such odds, the humans seemed to fight harder when things looked worst. In orbit, the Resilience took a direct hit to its engines. The bridge filled with smoke as warning alarms blared. "Sir, engines at 40%, reported an officer. 3 more void ships approaching." Jack's face was cut and bleeding, but his voice remained calm. "Redirect power from life support. Get us back in the fight." "Life support, sir?" questioned the young officer. "That will drop oxygen levels by 30%. "We can breathe less," Jack said firmly. "Do it." As the battle raged on, the Luminary witnessed something they had never seen before. Beings who would fight through pain, through damage, through impossible odds, not because they enjoyed violence, but because they had decided to protect others. And for the first time, the Void Dominion faced an enemy that didn't break under pressure, because humans had evolved on a world that had been trying to kill them since the day they were born. War Leader Drax stood on the command deck of his flagship, watching the battle with growing frustration. 3 days of fighting, and they had not yet crushed these defenders. "Prepare all remaining ships," he ordered coldly. "We will attack the Luminary homeworld directly. No more of these games." The Void Fleet regrouped, forming a massive arrow-shaped formation aimed at Lumina's heart. 30 ships remained, still outnumbering the humans. On the damaged Resilience, Admiral Jack received the urgent message from their scout ships. "They're changing tactics," he told his officers. "They're going for a direct assault on the capital." The bridge was hot, and the air thinned as life support remained at minimum levels. Many of the crew wore oxygen masks, but Jack had refused one for himself. "We can't stop that many ships," Commander Maya said honestly. "We've lost too many vessels already." Jack looked at the tactical display. "Then we need a new plan. Get me first speaker Trell." On the planet's surface, Captain Tom and his team were trapped in the science district of the capital city. Void forces had landed nearby and were pushing toward the main research facility. "Hold this street," Tom ordered his soldiers. "We need to keep them away from the labs." The humans had been fighting for almost 72 hours straight. They were tired, injured, and running low on ammunition. But they held their positions as the sounds of enemy vehicles grew closer. Tom's second-in-command, Lieutenant Kai, checked their remaining weapons. "We can hold maybe another hour, Captain." Tom nodded. "That's all they need." He pointed to the large research building behind them where human and Luminary scientists were working frantically. Inside the facility, Chief Engineer Dax worked alongside Morty and a team of Luminary scientists. They had combined human weapons technology with Luminary energy field research to create something new. "Will it work?" Mori asked, his hands shaking from exhaustion. Dax connected the final power coupling. "It has to." In orbit, the Resilience moved to intercept the Void formation despite its damaged engines. 7 other human ships, all that remained operational, formed a defensive line. "All ships, this is Admiral Stone," Jack broadcast. "Hold position until my mark. Everything depends on this." The Void fleet accelerated toward them, weapons charging. They would be in firing range in less than 5 minutes. On the main screen, first speaker Trell appeared. "Admiral, the device is ready, but our scientists say it needs to be at the center of their fleet to work." Jack nodded. "Understood." He turned to Maya. "Take command. I'm going to pilot the drop ship myself." Maya's eyes widened. "Sir, that's a suicide mission." "Maybe," Jack said, already moving toward the door. "But someone has to deliver the package." Minutes later, a small human ship launched from the Resilience, carrying Admiral Jack and the device developed by the combined science teams. The tiny vessel slipped between enemy ships as the battle erupted around it. In the capital city, Captain Tom's soldiers cheered as the luminary defense shield suddenly strengthened, powered by the new technology. The shield expanded, pushing back the Void ground forces. In space, Jack's ship reached the center of the enemy formation. As Void weapons locked onto his vessel, he activated the device. A blue-white energy field erupted from the small ship, expanding rapidly in a perfect sphere. When it touched the Void vessels, their weapons and engines immediately shut down. War Leader Drax watched in shock as his mighty fleet drifted powerless in space. For the first time in his life, he felt fear. The battle wasn't over, but the turning point had come. The Deathworlders had done what the Void Dominion had thought impossible. They had changed the rules of the fight. 3 weeks after the battle, the Great Hall of the Luminary Council looked very different. The damage from Void attacks had been repaired, but now humans sat among the Luminary leaders, discussing the future. Commander Maya, now acting admiral after Jack's rescue, stood near a large window. The special pod that had protected Jack during his mission had been recovered from space, and he was healing in the medical bay. The last Void ships left luminary space yesterday, Maya reported to the gathered council. Our scouts followed them to make sure they didn't regroup. First Speaker Trell nodded. And the prisoners? Being treated according to galactic law, Maya assured him. War Leader Drax will face justice for the worlds he destroyed. The room fell silent for a moment as everyone remembered the cost of victory. 8 human ships lost, hundreds of soldiers fallen, and many luminary civilians killed in the attacks. But compared to complete destruction, the price had been worth paying. Elder Vin, who had once feared the humans most, spoke up. The Luminary Council has prepared a formal treaty. She pushed a glowing tablet forward. We offer our knowledge, our resources, and our friendship in return for continued protection. Maya looked at the treaty. Earth will be honored by this alliance. Outside the hall, Captain Tom walked with Morty through the rebuilding city. Tom's arm was in a sling, and his face showed new scars, but he moved with purpose. Your people work fast, Tom commented, watching luminary repair crews fix a damaged building. Where humans would have used metal supports and rough patches, the luminaries seemed to make the broken parts grow back together like living things. We build, Mori said simply. You fight. Together, we are stronger. Tom nodded. That's the idea behind alliances. They stopped at a small park where luminary children played. The children had created a game where some pretended to be humans protecting the others from imaginary void monsters. Tom smiled watching them. They're not afraid of us anymore, he observed. They see you differently now, Mori explained. Not as dangerous beings, but as guardians. In the medical bay, Admiral Jack sat up in bed as First Speaker Trell entered the room. How are you feeling, Admiral? Trell asked. Better every day, Jack replied. Your medical technology is impressive. Trell sat beside the bed. We have received 17 messages from other worlds, he said. Word has spread about what happened here. Other peaceful species facing threats want to join our alliance. Jack raised an eyebrow. They want humans to protect them too. They want what we have discovered, Trell said. That the universe needs both builders and defenders. That what makes a species strong isn't just their weapons, but their willingness to use their strength for others. Jack thought about this. For thousands of years on Earth, we fought each other. We thought our ability to survive harsh conditions made us violent by nature. He looked out the window at the beautiful luminary city. Maybe we just needed the right cause. A young luminary aide entered the room. Excuse me, First Speaker. We've received a distress call from the Telluri system. They report void ships in their territory. Jack and Trell looked at each other. How soon can our ships be ready? Jack asked. Our ships, Trell corrected. The new combined fleet can depart in 2 days. And this time, we will send luminary scientists with you. Jack smiled. From feared Deathworlders to galactic peacekeepers, Not what we expected when we answered your SOS. As they began planning the mission, a new chapter was starting. Throughout the galaxy, the word spread. When the defenseless cry for help, the Deathworlders of Earth will come, and they bring not just weapons, but justice. The greatest strength of humans wasn't that they were born in a harsh world, but that they refused to let the universe remain as harsh as their home had been. The deep silence of the United Earth Defense Fleet Command Center broke with an urgent beep. Lieutenant Dan looked up from his screen, eyes wide. The signal was unlike anything they had seen before. It pulsed with a rhythm that did not match any known human pattern. "Captain Reed, you need to see this," Dan called out, his voice steady despite his racing heart. Captain Alex Reed moved across the room with quick steps. At 45 years old, Reed had seen many strange things during his 15 years of space service, but the look on Dan's face told him this was different. "What have we got?" Reed asked, leaning over the console. "A distress signal, sir, but not one of ours. It's alien." The word hung in the air. Humans had made contact with 12 alien races in the 50 years since they first left Earth's orbit. Some were friendly, some kept their distance, but none had ever sent a distress call directly to human ships before. Reed studied the signal pattern. "Can we tell who it's from?" Dan tapped his screen a few times. "The pattern matches luminary communication technology. They're the ones with the glowing skin and advanced healing abilities." Reed nodded. He knew about the luminary. They were peaceful traders who shared their medical knowledge freely. They lived on beautiful worlds with low gravity and mild weather. Completely unlike Earth with its storms, earthquakes, and changing seasons. Earth, the planet other species had started calling the Death World when they learned humans could survive things that would kill most aliens. "Location?" Reed asked. "The Outer Rim, Sector 7. It's near the edge of known space." Reed straightened up and made his decision. "Send a message to Admiral Marcus. We need permission to investigate." Within an hour, the bridge of the UES Dauntless hummed with activity. Admiral Marcus's face filled the main screen. "Captain Reed, we've studied the signal," the Admiral said. "Our intelligence suggests the luminary colony is under attack by the Vorg Dominion." Reed felt his blood run cold. The Vorg were known slavers who believed stronger species had the right to use weaker ones however they wanted. They had never attacked human ships or colonies, perhaps because they considered humans too dangerous to bother with. "The luminary have no defenses, sir," Reed said. "No weapons, no military." "Exactly," Marcus replied, his face grim. "The Vorg are targeting them because they're easy prey. But the luminary helped us develop the treatments that saved millions during the Red Plague outbreak 5 years ago. We owe them." Reed nodded. The luminary healing technology had indeed saved countless human lives. "Your orders. Take the Dauntless and the 7th Fleet. Investigate the signal and render aid if possible." Marcus paused. "This will be humanity's first direct intervention in an alien conflict, Captain. The Council wants it handled with care." "Understood, Admiral." As the screen went dark, Reed turned to his bridge crew. "Set course for Sector 7, maximum speed. Send alerts to all ships in the 7th Fleet. We launch in 30 minutes." As the crew rushed to obey, Reed stood at the viewport, looking out at the stars. For centuries, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they knew they weren't. And today, they would show the universe what it meant when humans decided to protect something. "The Vorg think the luminary are easy targets because they can't fight back," Reed said quietly to his second-in-command, Jack West. "They have no idea what they've done. They've never faced a species born on a death world before." West nodded. "No mercy for those who prey on the defenseless." Reed's eyes narrowed as he watched his fleet gather around the Dauntless, powerful warships built by a species that had survived on a planet that tried to kill them every day. No mercy at all. The UES Dauntless dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a flash of light. Captain Reed stood on the bridge, his face turning pale at the sight before him. The luminary colony world, once known for its beautiful blue oceans and silver forests, now showed ugly black scars across its surface. Smoke rose from what used to be cities. Broken ships floated in orbit, their pieces scattered like dead leaves. "My God," whispered Communications Officer Lisa. "They didn't just attack. They destroyed everything." Reed's jaw tightened. "Scan for life signs and find a safe landing zone for our shuttles." An hour later, Reed led the first team down to the surface. The air smelled of burnt metal and something worse, the unmistakable smell of death. Dr. Eliza Torres, the ship's chief medical officer, walked beside him, her medical kit ready. "I've never seen anything like this," Torres said, looking at the broken buildings around them. The luminary built with living materials. Their cities are partly alive. The Vorg didn't just destroy buildings. They killed them. A soft glow appeared ahead of them. A luminary approached, its skin flickering weakly with the light that gave the species their name. On a healthy luminary, the light would be bright enough to read by. This one barely glowed at all. "You came," the luminary said in a thin voice. "We feared no one would hear us." Reed stepped forward. "I'm Captain Alex Reed of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress call." The luminary bowed slightly. "I am Thelian, colony leader. What remains of it?" He gestured around at the ruins. 3 days ago, the Vorg ships appeared. No warning, no demands. They started with biological weapons that attacked our city growths. Then they landed troops. Major Tom Jackson, the ground team commander, spoke up. "Where are your people?" Thelian's light dimmed even further. "Many are dead. More were taken. The Vorg loaded them onto transport ships. We are a source of biological compounds to them. Nothing more." Dr. Torres scanned Thelian with her medical device. "You're injured. Let me help you." While Torres worked, Reed received a call from the ship. "Captain, we've detected a large group of luminary survivors hiding in underground chambers 2 kilometers east. That would be our healing centers," Thelian explained. "Built deep to hold the right energy for healing work." Jackson checked his weapon. "Sir, request permission to secure that location. If the Vorg come back." Reed nodded. "Go. Take half the team." As Jackson left, Reed helped Thelian sit on a broken wall. The alien's light grew slightly stronger from Torres's treatment. "I don't understand," Thelian said. "We have no enemies. We trade fairly. We share our healing knowledge with all." "The Vorg don't care about fairness," Reed replied. "They only respect strength and fear." Thelian looked up at Reed with large, sad eyes. "We are not strong. We cannot fight." Reed placed a hand gently on the alien's shoulder. "That's why we're here. Humans come from a world that tried to kill us every day of our evolution. We had to become strong to survive." His communicator beeped. Jackson's voice came through, tight with anger. "Captain, you need to see this. The Vorg used the healing centers as processing stations. They sorted the luminary by how useful their body parts would be." Reed saw Torres close her eyes briefly in horror. "We'll be there soon, Major." Reed looked back at Thelian. "You said the Vorg took many of your people. Do you know where?" "Their ships went toward the outer moon. We have a research station there." Reed stood up straight. "Then that's where we're going next." He tapped his communicator. "Dauntless, this is Reed. Begin scanning the outer moon. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." Reed looked across the broken landscape, his decision made. The Vorg wanted easy prey. Instead, they woke the Deathworlders. Now they'll learn what that means. Intelligence Officer Kai moved her fingers quickly across her screen, piecing together everything they knew about the Vorg. The dark room aboard the Dauntless flickered with images of enemy ships and weapons. "What do we know about them?" asked Captain Reed, standing behind her with his arms crossed. Kai pulled up a 3D model of a Vorg ship. "They're not as advanced as us in some ways. Their weapons are powerful but simple. Their shields can't adapt quickly. She zoomed in on the ship's engine. But they're fast, and they don't care about losing ships or soldiers. Reed nodded slowly. They've never had to worry about losses because they usually attack those who can't fight back. Exactly. Kai switched the display to show the moon where the luminary captives had been taken. It's a research station, like Thelian said. The Vorg have converted it into a processing facility. Our scans detect hundreds of luminary life signs. Major Jackson stepped forward, his face hard with anger after what he had seen on the planet. How many Vorg? About 200 soldiers, plus ship crews in orbit, Kai answered. Reed studied the display. They don't expect anyone to come for the luminary. They'll be operating with minimal security. Lieutenant Dan joined them, bringing up communication records. Sir, we've intercepted Vorg transmissions. They're preparing to transport the captives to their home system. They call the luminary biological resources. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. The luminary would be harvested for their biological compounds, treated like crops rather than people. Reed straightened up. Time for a stealth mission. We need eyes inside that facility before we make our move. 2 hours later, a small dark shuttle approached the moon, its engines running silent. Inside, Major Jackson and a team of 5 Marines prepared their equipment. Remember, Jackson told them, the Vorg evolved on a heavy gravity world with thick atmosphere. They're strong but slow in environments like this. Use that against them. The shuttle landed silently behind a ridge, far from Vorg sensors. The team moved out, their suits designed to hide their heat signatures and muffle sound. From their hiding spot, they watched Vorg soldiers herding groups of weakly glowing luminary between buildings. The once peaceful research station now looked like a prison camp. They're sorting them, whispered Marine Ben, using his enhanced vision to see inside the buildings, separating them by age and physical condition. Jackson felt sick, just like they did at the healing centers. They're deciding which ones to process first. He activated his secure comlink. Captain Reed, we've got eyes on the target. Hundreds of captives being prepared for transport. Main Vorg ship is docked at the north end of the facility. On the Dauntless, Reed received the information and called his officers together. We have one chance to do this right, he said. The Vorg have never faced humans in combat. They don't know what we can do. He pointed to the facility map. We'll hit them from orbit first. Precision strikes on their weapons and communications. Then Jackson's team creates chaos on the ground, while we send in shuttles for the captives. Dr. Torres spoke up. The luminary will be weak and injured. We need medical teams on those shuttles. Agreed, said Reed. We launch in 3 hours. Get everyone ready. As the officers left to prepare, Reed remained looking at the map. The Vorg thought they were untouchable. They had grown fat and comfortable preying on peaceful species like the luminary. They were about to learn a harsh lesson about attacking those under human protection. Jackson's voice came through one last time from the moon. Sir, the Vorg commander is broadcasting. He's laughing about how much profit they'll make from this harvest. Reed's eyes hardened. Record it all, Major, every word. So they can't deny what they've done when we're finished with them. The UES Dauntless hung in the darkness of space, its powerful weapons systems locked onto targets below. 5 other human ships formed a circle around the moon where the Vorg held their luminary captives. Captain Reed stood at the command center, his voice calm but firm. All ships report ready status. One by one, the ship captains confirmed their readiness. Weapons officer, target their communication arrays and defense systems only. Minimal collateral damage. Targets locked, sir, replied Weapons Officer Taylor. Reed took a deep breath. This would be humanity's first attack on another spacefaring species. History would remember this moment. Fire. Brilliant beams of energy shot from the human ships, striking the Vorg facility with perfect accuracy. From his hidden position on the moon's surface, Major Jackson watched as the Vorg's communication towers exploded in silent bursts of light. They never saw it coming, Jackson said into his comm. Their shields weren't even up. On the Vorg command ship, alarms blared. The Vorg commander, a massive creature with thick gray skin, roared in surprise. What is happening? Who dares attack us? His second-in-command checked the screens frantically. Unknown ships, Commander. They came out of nowhere. Impossible. There are no military forces in this sector. The commander slammed his fist on the console. Raise shields. Return fire. But the Vorg shields came online too late. Another volley from the human fleet disabled their main weapons before they could fire a single shot. Captain Reed watched the battle displays with careful attention. Second wave. Target their engines. Keep them grounded. More precise beams struck the Vorg ships, melting through engine housings and fuel lines. On the moon below, Major Jackson gave the signal. Ground team, move in. Remember the plan. Create chaos. Draw their attention away from the captives. 6 human Marines activated their powered armor and moved toward the facility. Unlike the bulky Vorg soldiers, humans in combat suits moved with deadly grace. They're scattering, reported Marine Ben. Their command structure is falling apart without communications. Jackson nodded grimly. Just as planned. They've never faced coordinated military action before. He motioned forward. Team 1, with me to the east entrance. Team 2, create a diversion at the north. Team 2 opened fire on the Vorg guard posts, their weapons designed specifically for this mission. Maximum noise and visible impact, but carefully controlled damage to avoid harming the luminary captives. The Vorg responded exactly as expected, rushing toward the attack in disorganized groups. Up in orbit, Captain Reed received Jackson's signal. Dropships, you are cleared for launch. Medical teams, stand by for casualties. 6 shuttles detached from the human ships, racing toward the surface. Dr. Torres sat in the lead shuttle, surrounded by medical staff and supplies. The Vorg commander finally realized what was happening. He grabbed a working communication device. This is Commander Grek of the Vorg Dominion. Cease your attack immediately, or face the wrath of our entire fleet. Reed allowed the message to be put through to his ship. This is Captain Alexander Reed of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We are here for the luminary captives. Surrender them unharmed, and we may let you leave with your ships. The Vorg commander's laugh came harsh through the speakers. Humans, Earth insects dare to challenge the Vorg. We will crush you like. Reed cut the transmission. He needed to know who we are. Now he does. He turned to his bridge crew. Prepare boarding teams. If they won't give us the captives willingly, we'll take them. The battle had only just begun, but already the balance had shifted. The Vorg, used to easy victories against defenseless prey, found themselves facing the methodical fury of humanity's finest warriors. Major Jackson crouched behind a fallen pillar as Vorg energy weapons fired overhead. His powered armor could take a few hits, but he preferred not to test its limits. Status report, he said into his comm. East sector clear, Marine Ben replied. 23 luminaries secured and moving to evacuation point. West sector still hot, came from Marine Lex. Heavy resistance, but we're pushing through. Jackson checked the tactical display on his wrist. The human attack had split the Vorg forces into small, confused groups. But the aliens were starting to regroup. Remember your training, Jackson told his team. The Vorg evolved on a high-gravity world. They tire quickly in normal environments. Keep moving. Make them chase you. Jackson darted from his cover, drawing fire as he sprinted across an open area. Vorg soldiers tried to track him, but their movements were sluggish compared to his enhanced speed. 3 Marines used the distraction to advance on the main holding area. Inside the facility, Dr. Torres had established a field medical station. Rescued luminary lay on portable beds, their skin barely glowing. They're in bad shape, Torres told Captain Reed over the comm. The Vorg kept them in dark, cold conditions to weaken them. but they'll recover. A luminary elder watched in amazement as Torres treated wounds faster than any doctor he had ever seen. "Your movements, so quick," the elder said. "And you work in conditions that would exhaust most species." Torres smiled grimly. "Humans are built to endure, elder. Our bodies adapt to stress. It's a gift from our harsh homeworld." Outside, the battle intensified. The Vorg commander, desperate to regain control, ordered his scientists to release biological weapons. "Let the humans choke on death," he growled. "Their soft bodies will melt." Canisters fired from Vorg positions, exploding into clouds of deadly microscopic organisms designed to attack lung tissue. The Vorg soldiers pulled back, certain their enemies would soon collapse. Instead, they heard human laughter over their captured communication systems. "Is that all you've got?" Jackson's voice taunted. "Earth bacteria and viruses are 1,000 times worse than this. Our immune systems eat this stuff for breakfast." The truth was more complex. The human environmental suits filtered most of the biological agents, and those that got through faced immune systems evolved on a planet teeming with microscopic threats. The attack that would have devastated most species merely slowed the humans down. "They're still coming," a Vorg soldier screamed into his comm. "Nothing stops them." Jackson led the final push toward the central detention area. "Breach team on me. We go in fast and hard." 3 Marines planted explosive charges on the main door. The blast threw it inward, and Jackson's team surged through the smoke. Inside, they found hundreds of luminary packed into cells. Their dim glow brightened slightly at the sight of the human rescuers. "We're getting you out," Jackson said, his voice gentle despite the battle raging around them. "Medical teams are waiting." A young luminary stepped forward. The Vorg said no one would come, that no one cared about our kind. Jackson knelt to meet the alien's eyes. They were wrong. Earth stands with those who can't defend themselves. As the Marines began evacuating the captives, one wounded Vorg soldier watched from the shadows. He had never seen anything like these humans, fierce in battle yet gentle with the freed prisoners. It made no sense to his Vorg mind. He activated his long-range communicator, bypassing the human jamming signals. The Vorg High Command needed to know what they were dealing with. "Send reinforcements," he whispered. "These humans, they are not like other species. They are something else entirely." The bridge of the UES Dauntless buzzed with activity as Captain Reed studied the tactical display. The rescue mission had freed over 300 luminary captives, but hundreds more remained in Vorg hands. "Sir," Lieutenant Dan called out, "we're picking up multiple warp signatures, large vessels entering the system." Reed's expression darkened. "Show me." The main screen filled with images of massive Vorg warships, each 3 times the size of the Dauntless. At their center flew a command vessel that dwarfed the others. 7 capital ships, Weapons Officer Taylor reported. The center one matches records of the Vorg Supreme Commander's personal vessel. Lieutenant Dan listened to incoming transmissions. "They're broadcasting. Sir, the Supreme Commander demands we surrender immediately or be destroyed." Reed studied the enemy fleet. His own ships were damaged from the first battle. The evacuation of rescued luminary was only half complete. Logic said they should retreat with those they had saved. But Reed knew what would happen to the remaining captives if they left. "Captain," Intelligence Officer Kai approached with urgent news. "I've decoded their internal communications. The Vorg aren't just angry about our interference here. They're planning to attack 3 other peaceful worlds after they finish with the luminary." Reed's decision crystallized in that moment. "Open a channel to Admiral Marcus." The Admiral's face appeared on screen, concern etched into his features. "What's your situation, Captain?" "Sir, we'd freed hundreds of captives, but the Vorg Supreme Commander has arrived with reinforcements. We're outgunned." Reed paused. "But we've discovered their next targets. More worlds will suffer if we don't stop them here." The Admiral was silent for a long moment. "What are you recommending, Captain?" "Send the 7th Fleet, sir. All of it. This is the moment where humanity decides what kind of galactic neighbors we're going to be. Another pause. Then the Admiral nodded firmly. The 7th Fleet is already on its way, Captain. Estimated arrival. 30 minutes. Hold your position. As the transmission ended, Dr. Torres entered the bridge. The Luminary Council is asking to speak with you, sir. They're broadcasting from their homeworld. Reed straightened his uniform and faced the screen. 3 elderly luminary appeared, their skin glowing with a steady blue light. Captain Reed, the central figure, spoke. Word of your defense has reached us. For thousands of years, we have avoided conflict, believing peaceful coexistence was possible with all species. And it is with most, Reed replied. But not with those who see others only as resources to exploit. The luminary nodded sadly. We see this now. We are broadcasting your stand against the Vorg to all worlds in our communication network. The galaxy must know. Humanity protects those who cannot protect themselves. Reed felt the weight of those words. Humanity had wondered for centuries what their role would be among the stars. Now they knew. Bridge to Captain, came Major Jackson's voice over the comm. All retrieved captives are secure. My Marines are ready for the next phase. Reed turned to see his officers watching him, waiting for orders. The Vorg wanted easy victims, Reed said. Instead, they found Earth's children, evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day, trained in the art of war so that peace might flourish. He straightened his shoulders. Prepare all weapons. The 7th Fleet is coming. Today, we show the Vorg what it means to face the defenders of the innocent. The Vorg fleet retreated from luminary space, their once mighty ships limping away in defeat. From the observation deck of the UES Dauntless, Captain Reed watched them go, his face showing exhaustion, but also quiet satisfaction. They're running, said Lieutenant Dan, standing beside him. The Supreme Commander's ship was the first to flee when the 7th Fleet arrived. Reed nodded. Bullies always run when someone stands up to them. The battle had been fierce but decisive. Human ships, designed to withstand the harshest conditions in space, had proven too much for the Vorg. The Supreme Commander had not expected such resistance, and certainly not the arrival of 20 more Earth warships at the critical moment. The last of the captives are being brought aboard, Dr. Torres reported as she joined them. We've saved over 800 luminary in total. And the losses? Reed asked quietly. 12 human Marines, 37 wounded. Torres's voice was solemn. The luminary have offered to help treat our injured with their healing technology. Reed looked out at the stars again. Make sure those 12 get full military honors when we return home. On the command deck, Intelligence Officer Kai was speaking with representatives from 5 different alien species, all former victims of Vorg attacks. The aliens looked at the humans with a mixture of awe and gratitude. We have lived in fear of the Vorg for generations, said a tall, thin alien with leaf-like skin. No one dared to challenge them. Until now, added another alien, whose body glowed like the luminary, but with a green tint. Kai nodded. Earth has decided its role in the galaxy. We will not stand by while peaceful species are attacked. Major Jackson entered, his armor scratched and dented from battle. He had spent the last hours supervising the final rescue operations. The luminary asked me to give you this, Jackson said, handing Reed a small crystal that glowed with inner light. It's their highest honor. They say it represents the brave light that shines in darkness. Reed accepted it with a nod of respect. We did what anyone would do. No, Jackson replied. We did what only humans would do, what only we could do. A communication alert sounded. The main screen showed the Luminary Council chamber, now filled with representatives from a dozen different species. Captain Reed, the lead counselor, spoke. Today marks a turning point in our shared history. For too long, peaceful species have been at the mercy of predators like the Vorg. We propose a new alliance, with Earth as its protector. Reed exchanged glances with his officers before responding. We accept, but with one condition. We don't want to be rulers or controllers, just equals, using our strengths to help where needed. The council agreed immediately. Within hours, plans were being made. Dr. Torres would lead a medical exchange program. Major Jackson would train defense forces made up of volunteers from previously defenseless worlds. And Captain Reed would command the first multi-species defense fleet. As the Dauntless prepared to return to Earth with news of their new role in the galaxy, Reed took one last look at the stars from his private quarters. "We came out here wondering if we would find monsters," he said softly to himself. "Instead, we found that the true monsters fear us, and those who cannot fight for themselves have found their shield." The ship's engines hummed as they prepared for the jump home. Earth's children had found their purpose among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The galaxy would never be the same again.